Right. Okay, so I believe a bit of an explanation is in order. I believe nothing, an explanation is in order. So, okay. First off, I know there are probably going to be some people who've previously paid attention to some of my social media posts or even comments in other videos and are going to start typing about how I'm a massive hypocrite or something like that. To which I say, well, one, probably, but two, not really. This is Transformers Kotobukiya Transformers Bishoujo Nemesis Prime. This is a statue. It does nothing other than just stand there and look amazing, but it doesn't pose, doesn't transform, nothing. Just a statue. That in its own way is kind of counterintuitive to my own declaration for what I want to do when it comes to my collection. Because I've said in a few videos in the past that I just kind of given up on non-transforming figures. I just want to have Transformers and that's it. However, Nemesis Prime is the one figure or one character-ish, because also some of these are black repaints of Optimus Prime. The point is, this whole thing, Nemesis Prime, Optimus Prime in black, Scourge, is the one exception that I'm making to that very, very strict rule. Also minus blockies, but we'll talk about blockies at some point in the future. The reason that being is because, like, Nemesis Prime, for me, is like a collection in itself. It's like a mini collection inside of the main collection. Much like how Thu has the Skywarp Shrine. So for me, this is not, it's not meant to be a Nemesis Prime figure. It's meant to be a Nemesis Prime centerpiece, almost. It's kind of similar to the Culture Fly Melts Nemesis Prime that we looked at first thing in the month, only a lot fancier and more expensive. That's why, first of all, I've got a statue. Second of all, the whole commenting on this being a hypocrite thing is because many times in the past I've talked about how I'm not really a fan of things like Big Fire or Nicey and stuff like that, because it's just kind of crass and obvious, and the concept, not the design, the engineering looks solid, but like the concept strikes me as just very lazy and pandering. It's not that I don't think toys and whatever can be sexy, because I feel like if you look at this a certain way, there is a certain amount of sex appeal to this statue. But there is a difference between sexy and horny. This is not horny. That's the big distinction for me, at least. Yeah, it might raise a few eyebrows, but this isn't something where I feel like someone's going to walk in and be like, what the heck is that? It'd be more of like a curiosity. And it's not even that I have anything against things being horny, it's transforming robot toys in a franchise that's always been about selling toys to kids, and it's complicated. This is fine in a way that those other things are not, because those other things are marketed and clearly meant for gooning, basically. And that's where I draw a line. I don't have any problem with people who want those figures for whatever reason. There are some redeeming qualities to Nicey from what I've seen. It's just not for me, and I also feel like when you start including things like swappable chest plates that are squishy, it's just very exhaustingly juvenile, I guess. Now that I've spent a good 5 minutes, talking about all this nonsense, let's actually talk about the Bishoujo Nemesis Prime statue. Because outside of just wanting it because I thought it'd be a cool kind of centerpiece to the Nemesis Prime shelf, I just think it's a really cool design in a way that I don't think any of the other Bishoujo Transformers statues have managed to catch quite right since. That's just a personal opinion. I'm sure there are people who think Megatron is the best, and Bumblebee or Cliffjumper is the best, or Starscream, Thundercracker, or Skywarp is the best. But for me, the Optimus Prime, Nemesis Prime iteration for this line is the best and most clever depiction of a very recognizable robot character as a human. It's just very clever, and also it just looks cool. Like, the style here, especially in the Nemesis Prime colors, is really cool. With like the black and the gray alternating with just a little bit of accents here and there with the turquoise and the red. and maybe a little white on the feet. It's a very cool overall style, but it's done in a way that evokes the character in extremely smart ways. Plenty of people have talked about this on the Optimus Prime statue already, but we are going to talk about it here. You've got, first of all, the Decepticon base, Decepticon emblem base, which looks good, but like the boots they're just boots that go up just below the knee, but like the way that they're done, you've got the wheels on the side, obviously, but then you've got this detailing in the front that's made to look like the shin vents. There's even this little bit at the top that looks a little bit like the knee design, and then you've got these flaps kind of hanging off the sides to evoke those fuel canisters. Stockings going up the legs add a little bit of that like robotic coloring, but then there's also patterning on the ends that kind of evoke the thigh patterning on Optimus and Nemesis Prime's thighs. Also on the boots, you've got this little arch thing here that makes it look a little bit more robotic and, again, more like Prime's feet. The shorts are just shorts, so not really much to say there, but the belt has that very telltale Optimus Prime pelvis design with like the lights and, not lights, but like little translucent bits and stuff like that. There's not a lot going on in the arms that really evoke an Optimus or Nemesis. I feel like maybe something to do like a little arrow bit somewhere here would work, but that's not there. But the jacket is cool. I like the patterning, not patterning, I like the shape and design of the jacket, the fact that it's kind of like a cut-off jacket. We'll get into the paint detailing in a bit, but like then you've got these pockets up here that are, in this case, done in red, but it works for this and for Optimus, where it's meant to evoke the chest windows. And that is very clever. Making the pockets, the breast pockets, red is such a smart way to evoke the chest window design. It's so smart. And then, of course, you've got the matrix on a chain hanging around her neck. Arguably, you could say that maybe these little flaps on the shoulder pads done in a different color are meant to evoke the smokestacks on the shoulders. I don't know for sure, but maybe. And also Decepticon logo on the one arm, just the one. And then the head is also just an incredibly clever design. This statue has, I think the Optimus had it too, but it had an alternate face. The Optimus one, it's just a smiling face, and then I think it also came with the faceplate, but I could be wrong. For Nemesis, it's the same expression, but without the mouth plate, and she's got her mouth open in kind of like a sassy smirk kind of thing. And that looks fine, but I really like the mouth plate. It works as like a public health awareness thing, but also it's very clearly just the robot faceplate. It looks cool, and I kind of feel like the mouth plate works with the style going on here. And then, of course, you have the other really clever stuff going on here, like the glasses that are made to look a little bit like Prime's, like you got the head crest, eyes, that kind of thing. And then like the hair. The hair is brilliant with these buns on the sides and these strands sticking up that evoke the ear bits on Prime's helmet, head, whatever. It's just so clever how this all comes together to really make it apparent that that's the character this is meant to be. And it's, again, why I think this particular iteration of the Bishoujo Transformers line is the best design. And then also there's the sword, which it's just the typical thing where the back part of the handle unplugs, the sword comes out of the hand, and like that's it. There's no other thing to my recollection that goes in the hand, so she's just standing there like that if you don't put the sword in the hand. I feel as though it is very important to have the sword in the hand, which is why I have the sword in the hand. That's how that works, and this is just an amazing accessory, because I know that the Optimus version has that briefcase that's designed to evoke the trailer, and that's also very clever. But, you know, Nemesis Prime doesn't necessarily always do the trailer thing, so having the RID Scourge vaguely style sword, except with the gigantic, almost Executioner style end that tapers down, like, this is a really cool sword design. It looks just enormous, and I don't know, I play a lot of Monster Hunter, so I'm really drawn to women wielding giant weapons, because I always make my Monster Hunter character off of Diana, It's just an aesthetic that I'm always here for, and I love this sword. It looks great, and she looks great holding it, and this is just a really cool statue. Now, the actual detailing outside of the molding is also really good. There's actually a lot of, like, I don't know if it's airbrushing or not, but they use a lot of extra tones to add, like, shadow and stuff like that. Like, you've got this darker gray kind of brushed in here and along the legs, and also in, like, the folds of the shorts and in the crop top shirt. You've got this really nice gloss jacket, which the texture, the glossy texture, also on the belt, but like that gloss against matte really helps to make it seem like these are made out of different materials, even though it's all just plastic. And even the gloss is like slightly differently painted in a few places, but it's very subtle. And you also have the matte for the textured cuffs, which has a little bit of that extra spray too, where it's got the lighter gray and then like the darker, almost purpley shadowing in there, which goes all the way around. Incidentally, you can see that patterning, even like the spray patterning, the coloring and stuff, is going on the inside of the detailing on the jacket too, which is cool. Even on the skin tones, you can see they added like a slightly darker kind of pink to add the hint of shadows in a few places. Really nice detailing. The hair is just matte black plastic. I don't think they did any extra brushing or anything like that on it, but I don't think they necessarily needed to. And then also on the face, you can see they did a little bit of that extra brushing too, on like the cheeks and stuff like that. And the expression is great. I love the like slightly raised eyebrow, kind of go away or I will mess you up kind of expression. It's really cool. And because this is a statue that doesn't do anything, there's like no kibble. It's just all the way around human character in this rather stylish outfit, very much looking like Nemesis Prime. And again, like you've got the detailing around the back with like the shadowing and stuff like that, the extra spray stuff. Like you can really see it on the back of the boots here, where it's like this darker gray up here and it kind of goes just very slightly gradiates into like a lighter gray as you go down. And also right around the folds here. Really great detailing, really great design, and it doesn't do anything. Honestly, if they released, I don't think they would, but if they released like an actual like articulated action figure of this design, I would buy it. Assuming it wasn't like $400 or something like that. But yeah, this was very cool. Also, I think I got mine, if I remember correctly, for a pretty decent price. I think this was an SDCC exclusive. There were a lot of instances of people trying to charge like $150, $200 for this thing, and that's not the retail price for this. I think, if I remember correctly, they had her on Amazon for like $125, something like that, which is so much cheaper than I was seeing her everywhere else, and I think was closer in line with like the original MSRP, so I was just like, yes. I'm not ever going to make it a habit of buying $100 statues or any statues that aren't Nemesis Prime, really, but given the sculpt work and the paint work and the size of this thing, which we'll get into in a second, I'm okay with what I paid for it. Seeing as it's a statue, I probably would have preferred to pay like $50 for it, but I feel like if I paid $50 for this, it would be a lot less nicely detailed. Now, mention size. So we bring in Legacy Scourge, and what the heck, we'll bring in Holiday Prime 2. Yeah, this is a pretty sizable statue. Yes, the Decepticon logo base does add a little bit, but even without that base, I don't think Scourge or Prime would come up to her shoulders. Even Studio Series Age of Extinction Leader Class Optimus Prime, like, that's a big statue. Also, I feel like when you're looking at these, you can kind of see, this guy transforms, yes, absolutely. But look at the difference in painting and stuff like that. Like, there is nothing on this statue that is lacking in some kind of detailing. It's all painted and detailed immaculately. Whereas this, you got a lot of that unpainted gray. And I mean, it's budgetary stuff, obviously. But I'm just saying, I feel like when you see these two side by side, you can kind of, I feel like maybe see where some of the money for this is going. And what the heck, let's just keep going with the size comparisons. There's Timelines Prime, who is basically a deluxe, so yeah, it's way bigger. And Reactivate Soundwave, who's just going to be a staple size comparison of this particular series, because, again, I just really like Reactivate Soundwave, and I want to sing his praises every chance I get, so I'm making chances to do it more often. And look at how good he looks with repro levels. So, this is a little weird, a little rambly. I've never actually made a video on a statue before, so I'm hoping I went over everything adequately. My apologies to any statue enthusiasts who are expecting me to do anything else. Oh, also, there's the underside, for anyone curious. Underside of the base. And she is attached to the base. She's not coming off. This is fused with the statue. It comes in the box like that, so you're not going to be taking her off the base. Just want to reiterate that, yes, this is a little bit, ha ha ha, because pretty girl in moderately tight clothing, midriff showing, that kind of thing. Yes, I get it. But again, I draw a very big distinction between sexy, which I think, depending on your preferences and stuff, this could be seen as sexy, and horny, which I do not see this in any way as a horny thing, which is why I think this is cool and not ugh, and also why I was willing to buy it. It's a very cool statue, very much worth what I paid for it. I haven't looked at any kind of availability or aftermarket prices on this thing. I don't know how readily available it is anymore, so I'd say if you're into statues like this, or if you just think it's a really cool design and you think the original MSRP is a good price or cheaper, and you can find it for either of those options, then absolutely go for it, because it's a substantial statue. It is pretty big, really nicely detailed, and it just looks amazing, and the design is fantastic. So yeah, that is so much random talking and ranting, and again, I apologize, I'm just not familiar with this kind of subject matter, but that's all I've got to say about Kotobukiya's Bishoujo Nemesis Prime. What do you all think of this statue, or either of the Bishoujo Primes, or any of the Bishoujo Transformer statues that we've gotten so far? I don't know if they're done with the line or not. I think a Soundwave could be really cool. I can't remember if they teased that or not. A Soundwave might be tempting, depending on how the design goes. Anyway, let me know what you think. Feel free to chime in down below. I always enjoy hearing from you all. Thank you everybody for watching, and take a wild guess what the next video is going to be. If you guessed another Nemesis Prime, you are correct. You don't win anything, but you are correct.